So the Game Jam free overview. Before I delve into the notes from the Game Jam, I just want to preface these are stated as concept and nothing has been confirmed. Knowing Jagex though, we can assume that some of these ideas will be polled in the near future. The first concept in the article says about a wind-inspired boss that is both PvM and a skilling encounter. Mod Alina, Gecko and Jerv have created a concept of a mid to low level boss encounter that uses both skilling and combat to defeat the boss. They said that it would be based on top of a mountain where you'll be able to take on the deities of the 4 cardinal winds. Now, coming from RS3 background like I did before I grew a pair and, moved over to the OSRS, I distinctively remember grinding out a boss known as Croesus. Now, this was a full-on skilling boss, and in my honest opinion, the boss was extremely good. It was still intense with plenty of mechanics, but having a boss not rely on RNG hit splats was incredible, and the general census of the boss was extremely well liked, so who knows, this could be a superb future update for mid to low level account. A brief description of the boss encounter: you'll need to carefully manage resources and with the playable space as you vie to survive the storm and put the deities to rest. To agitate the winds, each one comes with a different theme and they all energize and overlap with one another. They'll go from things such as the east winds are the wind of rain, the south the wind of fire, north the wind of ice, and west the wind of silence, water blasts, heat waves, fire strikes, ice sculptures, hail, frostbite, and a big storm. Lastly comes the storm, the winds of chaos. All 4 deities are now awake and you have to manage the space with whatever resources you have left and finish off the statues using melee, combat, or dwindling resources. Be careful though or you'll be thrown off the mountain. They said that they still have a few gaps to fill with the project and believe it has the potential to be a new, unique encounter that brings combat and skilling oriented players together. In terms of reward, they're thinking of offering farming and combat themed goodies. Next is the Path of Glossary. So you may already know, 2007 game backup we used to create the Oldschool RuneScape. So when the first Oldschool RuneScape came out and the 2007 servers were back online, it was a shit show, but they've obviously come quite far now. They've been able to do a lot of things, but with that there was a few unreleased updates, and these updates all launched shortly after the backup was made. They're basically mostly complete. Over the years they've extracted most of them and added them to Oldschool, but there's a few ones that they haven't yet touched, and one of them is the Path of Glossary. The Path of Glossary is the next quest in the Gnome storyline and sees you set out on a journey to find the hidden city of Aros. It's on the screen, that, as a land of the goblins. Released last year, we've extracted this quest from the backup and given it a nice polish to bring it up to the modern standards. Most notably, they've reworked the Slayer creatures unlocked at the end of the quest to make them a bit more ... good. So, Slayer, a new quest. I've got the questscape, as you can see on my character's back right now. I'm a fan of quests, so it would be quite good. They mentioned that there's a playlist of gold potential update, which basically improves the music player. Me personally, it's very, very rare that I'll listen to the music. When I first started, grinding out Next, I put the music on there because it was a new experience. I did the same with TOA, did the same with Chambers of Xeric. So, I mean, if it's new music, then I'll listen to it, just a couple of times just to get the sort of the vibe of the area, but that's pretty much it. They're also looking at plenty of gestures, so an emote system improvement. So they're looking to implement more emotes because it is an MMORPG, which RPG obviously stands for role-playing game, so they are wanting to make it so you can express yourself in the game a little bit more. But guess what? A word from today's sponsor, our first sponsor of the channel, Freshen Up Hydration. Freshen Up is a dry powder blend that is packed with natural and clean ingredients. They encourage everybody to live a healthier lifestyle by making this the perfect substitute for soda, energy drinks, sugary juices, and overly sugar-filled sports drinks. Are you sick of store-bought energy drinks making you feel tired after drinking them? Well, with Freshen Up, the blends cause no crashing after consuming them, so you can keep raiding in the tombs of a mascot or even on your 15,000 next kill in the mass where you've only just got 2 drops. But make sure to use code HARE, H-A-R-E, all cap, for 20% off with the link in the description. Next, they go on about wilderness rejuvenation products, and this is by the mods Goblin and Mank. So they mentioned about wilderness clues, and they go into detail about how wilderness clue steps are a cluer's worst nightmare, and to be honest, they're not wrong. There are currently 50 steps across hard, master, and elite clue scrolls, and they take a lot of time. Just being in the wilderness doesn't actually add any difficulty. So we see no harm in relocating them with the same item requirements or approximate difficulty, and if we implemented that change, hidey holes would also need to be moved to more relevant areas. To compensate for this change, they would like to introduce a wilderness-only clue scrolls, intended for those who don't mind a little bit of murder with their mysteries. If implemented, these would contain steps that vary in difficulty from simple dig here steps to emote clues requiring items you obtain entirely within the wilderness, and in case you would like to sustain your account entirely within its barren wasteland, all the way up to killing various bosses, all the way up to killing the various bosses dotted throughout the area. Of course, they would like to, reward your risk with some fantastic loot for completing the wilderness clues, be it blighted supplies, super restores, or maybe an ornate more handles. They're completely up for grabs, alongside a few other wilderness-themed goodies, which we won't be detailing just yet. So it's cool. So it looks like they're going to be adding a new form of clue scroll, or potentially adding a new form of clue scroll. That will give people something else to grind for, which is always good. They go into details about adjusting Wilderness Slayer and intended on potentially increasing the drop rate of Laren's keys, which will be good because Laren's keys are extremely expensive right now, and people that are wanting to, fill out that collection log spot so they can hear C Engineer go, collection log slot, can play that, then, they can do that now, and it may be a little bit cheaper for them, it may be a bit more viable. They also mentioned the Wilderness Agility course and how a rework could be implemented in order to give a reward to the risk of training agility in the wilderness. So basically what they're saying is that there may be an option to buy a pass, a 50k to 100k pass, every single lap that you do, and there is a chance at a reward for you. That seems interesting. It feels like it would be a hot spot for PKers, but, who knows? They've said that the Trover system is clunky and annoying and would like to rework it in a sense of repairing items via Purdue at the Ferox Enclave. They would like to fix the system by replacing Trover parchments with a mangled condition, which require Purdue's help to fix. This would cost 10 times the repair fee for the broken item, so if a broken fire cape costs 50k KGP to repair, a mangled one would cost 500,000. Wilderness bosses, they would like to include some quality of life changes to the 3 regular wilderness bosses, as well as some loot table changes to the Chaos Elemental and Scorpia. They have mentioned new wildlife, so this is by mods Hend and Skylark. Animals are a small but important part of old school RuneScape, and they bring life to different parts of the world and add to the story of the area you're visiting. They can be hunted, sheared, fed, or simply admired from afar. Right now, we have all kinds of animals in the game, but what if we had more? As we look at adding new areas to the game, we're thinking about what kind of critters you might find there. Above, you can see models of capybaras, jaboas, fennec foxes, green lizards, salamanders, a variety of toucans, jaguars, and alpacas. And these animals live in a variety of different biomes, so could be worked into any geographical location that requires a few new faces. They've also said that if there is a favourite and we would like to definitely see in game, let them know. You can let them know via Twitter. There is also a survey that they put out with this sort of thing, which you could fill out the survey as well. They've mentioned Mastery Cape. So the Completionist Cape is an item that players can obtain once they've completed a set number of requirements and additional tasks. This shows that a player has completed the majority of the content in the game and is a true RuneScape master. This game jam, they've tackled some of the community's previous concerns about the design by introducing a new point system, similar to the one they've implemented for combat achievements. If you hit the threshold of the number of points required, as well as meeting all the base requirements, then you'll be eligible to claim the old school equivalent, so the Mastery Cape. This new system means that you'll be able to continue to complete tasks and gain points above the threshold requirement, so that if new content comes out which then increases the threshold, you'll be able to hold on to your hard-earned cape. Another benefit is that you'll be able to make up the points required from the task you can actually want to complete. So whether you're really into combat or a clue scroll pro, you'll be able to take home a mastery cape of your very own. They did a lot of rhyming there. The base requirements for a mastery cape would be max total level, all quests complete, all achievement diaries complete, all music track unlocked, excluding the holiday tracks, elite combat achievements tier complete, and 50% of the max mastery points. They'd also like to pitch a trimmed mastery cape, which requires everything listed above, plus 85% of the max mastery points. Please note that they're open to feedback regarding these requirements, so let them know on Twitter, let them know in the surveys again. And they've also looked at a mastery interface where players can see their current progress and the requirements to obtain the cape. To avoid making the mastery cape a best in slot item locked behind thousands of in-game hours, they've decided it will be equal to a max cape in terms of stats and features. As a compromise, we will allow the mastery cape to be combined with other best in slot capes, so you can flex your old school prowess while keeping all the practicality of the Infernal Cape or Ava's Assembler. But that is basically the main things from the game jam. There are a couple of things I have left out, but reading through them, they weren't really as fully fleshed as it would be worth explaining. The Mastery Cape seems really cool, and it looks like a really good update that could be brought into the game. Wildlife is going to be really interesting to see how they can implement it and how they can sort of embed these animals into the lore, because if they're not already there, then how did they end up there? Wilderness bosses, it's good to see that the other bosses are going to get a little bit of love, after obviously the boss's rework as of late. And the trophy system as well. I'm not a fan of the trophy system, and it's one of the main reasons that I won't bring certain items out with me into the wilderness is because, well, the trophy system is just clunky. But overall, Game Jam seems like it was a success. They've highlighted a bunch of things that they would like to work on. The new skilling/combat boss seems like a really cool update. Overall, Game Jam 3 seems like a success. It looks like Jagex is pointing in the right direction, and that's what we love to hear. But if you did enjoy the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to go down in the description and have a look at the article yourself if there is anything you would like to read in a bit more detail. But on that note, this is the list of people that are subscribed, and this is the percentage of people that aren't. If you are new around here, just press that button for me. It's free. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya.